Oh no. Oops. My bad. All right. If you can hear me, that'd be good to know. There's an ad currently playing on my phone, so I can't really tell yet. Oh my god, there's more ads. I'm not complaining. All right. Hold on. Oh my goodness. Hello? Test. I didn't realize how off my screen was. All right, hold on. Watch this. Oops. No. That's not it. How's that? All right, cool. Audio is working. You can see me, I hope. I'm just going to tweet this out. And then I will be ready to laugh at myself. But I hope whoever else is here, the one other person, Patty, hope you're doing well. Yeah, sorry I'm late. I was having some tech issues, so that was not fun. But problem solved. It just turns out that I am dumb. Well, not dumb. I mean, I can be dumb. We're about to watch me make some pretty bad predictions. We're going to see how dumb I am. But you'll get the point. Yeah, so let me get this ready. Make sure this works. And my computer's screaming. I think it's about to freak out. No, don't play yet. Oops, nope. My computer's oh my goodness. Stop. My computer's not listening to me. Hold on a second. Okay. This could be a long stream. I'm sorry. All right, let's go. Bam! Yeah. All right, you can see you can see most of the screen there, but all right. Hello to everyone that's here. We're going to do what is now an almost annual tradition where we laugh at me for making terrible preseason predictions. Though I will say last year was actually pretty good. I had 14 of the 15 playoff drivers right because, of course, Kurt Busch got hurt. I had him in the playoffs. He would have made it if he didn't get hurt. We kind of had that as a, hard to say. But, yeah. This year, though, I think I got 11 or 12. I'm going to set the over-under at 11.5. So get all your guesses ready. I know who my championship pick was. It was wrong. Prepare to laugh at me. And if I can get this more centered. There you go. And get the volume up on this thing. I got my pen ready. I'm ready to write down anything I got right. Anything I got wrong is going to be commented on. Once again, feel free to laugh at me. Comment. I got comments over here. Let's do this thing, shall we? If I can go the right direction. Oh, I'm already there. Click.
Oh, NASCAR is back.
Okay. I went with creativity.
It is one of my favorite times of the year.
Yes,
not my favorite.
I'm wearing the same shirt in that
There's
video.
a reason I said one of my favorites. It's time
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
A full NASCAR season.
Yes.
2023, the NASCAR season is just a week away. Less than a week because the Truck Series are on Friday. I have 100 to kick off. We'll be talking about the biggest stories. We're going to talk about some of the biggest races this year.
Yes.
Give you a prediction. I waited for this thing to come in. my preseason predictions, I do not go that bold usually. I usually stick pretty basic in terms of things. But
I do.
This year was probably one of the most difficult years to ever predict.
And
I thought last year was difficult, the first year of the next-gen car.
I was wrong a lot.
These different guys to make the playoffs, the even playing field. And I actually didn't do terrible, but this year was much more difficult. You will see why later in this video, so stick around for that. Let's get to some of the biggest stories of 2023. Up first, it's NASCAR's 75th anniversary, 1948 to 2023. 75, that's a big number. They got a lot of new logos.
Yeah, so one of the biggest storylines of the year was the 75th anniversary. Obviously, it was a topic that was heavily covered due to it's a big number. 75 is a big number. And getting to that anniversary was a big deal. They did so much for it. The new logo, different celebrations, different tents. If you're in the fan zone, like Geico, I think, or Goodyear. Maybe it was Goodyear. Had a full-blown 75th anniversary tent in terms of having artifacts from whether it was the 1950s, 60s, 70s, 80s, you name it. So it was really cool to see NASCAR really embrace the history, just really dive into the 75th anniversary thing head first. It was really cool to see, if you ask me. Continuing. My computer's screaming.
Logos, shiny logos, 70.
That's not good. Oh my gosh, it's an ad. Who put that there? I did. I put that there. There's too much going on for my computer. Another ad? What the heck? Chase Elliott will have a bounce back year in 2024. Well, that's the hope.
'75s, diamonds, a lot of cool logos that they've got. They're making the 75th anniversary a big deal. Really pushing.
I'm going to try something real quick before my computer explodes. This will take only a minute. I'm just going to X out of some things just to give my computer a break. Yeah, there's just a lot going on with my computer. It's a little old. It's not super old, but when it starts screaming like this, I always get nervous that it's going to die. Like, not like battery die, but like die, like explode or something like a Ferrari. I just X'd out of you. Don't you dare come back to me. Alright. This thing is not chilling out. Alright, okay. Video's back, okay. Give it some time. And alright. Let's try this again. It's still screaming, but you know what? We're trying.
They got new merchandise, as I said, new logos.
Yep.
So NASCAR really pushing, obviously 75 years. That's a lot of time.
I just said that.
Which also means a lot of history. I'm sure we're
Yep.
top 75 moments in the history era, even before of NASCAR.
I know it's blurry. My
Gordon,
computer's
Jimmy
slow.
Johnson.
I apologize.
I guess today's era, history of NASCAR, safety of the cars, the small technical things, you know, the actual tracks themselves, the facilities. A lot's happened in 75 years. So there's a lot to celebrate. There's a lot to talk about. So we'll talk about that throughout the season, I am sure. May even do a couple of special videos on here for some history things. Then our second biggest story, or not second biggest, but another one of the biggest stories heading into 2023 is the Chicago Street Course.
Oh, yeah.
The Chicago Street Course is going to be a 2.14-mile track in Chicago. It's not like a road course out.
The Chicago Street Race was something. It was affected by rain. It was a fun weekend. I will say we got a new winner out of it. We got a guy in his first ever NASCAR start who won. I had never heard of the guy before the season started, Shane Van Gisbergen. And all of a sudden, everyone knows him and everyone loves him. Like, The dude just showed up and won the street race. I definitely didn't predict him winning. I don't think anyone predicted him winning the Chicago street race back in February. So, do we really deduct a point there? Like, dude, how am I supposed to know that he's coming? And how am I supposed to know that he's going to come up and destroy NASCAR? My goodness. Man. Oof. You need a new computer? I might. If you can hear it screaming, I'm sorry. But it is. That's why I don't do as many live streams anymore. I'm waiting. Sometimes it just stops on its own. So you have to do that. I'm lagging. Lovely. Okay, I'm going to give it a minute. Hold on. Okay. Can't wait to see how SVG does on the ovals. Me neither. I'm excited for it. We'll see how he ends up doing. Oh my goodness. It's always lovely when you close something out and then it just re-pops up 5 minutes later. Oh, that's loud. Alright, I'm deleting stuff. Hoping that that'll make this computer chill out. Tell me when it stops lagging. That would be nice. Thank you. Once again, I'm sorry. That's why this whole live stream was slow in the first place. Because, yeah, I was having so many issues with the computer trying to get this thing fired up and trying to get the software fired up that it just took me forever to load. So, sorry again. But yeah, SVG came out of nowhere to win the Chicago street race. No one saw that happening, as I said, in February. So, man, that was quite something, wouldn't you say? If you can even hear me. I don't know if you can. This computer does not seem to want to chill, which is a little frustrating that it had to wait till today to be extra mean and crappy, but, you know. I don't know. Maybe lifting it up will make it not scream as much. I'm not a computer expert, so if it's bad to pick up a screaming computer, like if it's going to explode in my hands, please tell me. But if you can hear me, if it's stopped lagging, let me know so I can restart this or refire up this video and we can watch it. But I hope everyone's having a fine day, and I don't know what you're doing. It's almost Friday night, end of the week. Don't really know what else to say. But it'll stop lagging for a few seconds, then it starts again. Well, that's frustrating. All right. I don't know what to tell you. Do you want me to just continue doing this with the lagging issues, or what's the you? I want you, the people, all 9 of you, to just make the decision. Do you want me to continue just powering through this with the lagging, or wait for my computer to start being normal again? So we're about 3 minutes into a 35-minute video. I was planning on skipping straight to the predictions after the storylines, the big storylines. I wasn't even going to listen to driver changes because the big ones that we'll talk about are in the playoffs, and I was going to talk about them there. So just let me know what you want to do. You're the people. You tell me what to do. So you're fine, says Micah. You're fine as in, like, it's the lagging's being nicer, or you want me to just continue on? Let's quit that. I'm not lagging now? Oh my goodness. Thank you, Patty, for telling me. All right. We're going to try this again. The computer's still screaming. I'm pretty sure it's the video that makes the lagging. But if it starts lagging again, like really bad, if it's tolerable, don't tell me so we can get on. We can get to the fun part. But if it's so bad that you don't know what I'm saying, if it's so bad that, like, you know, you can't comprehend what I'm saying and you can't even watch the live stream, then spam the comments and tell me to stop. All right. Okay. So here we are again. We're going to try this again. Please work. Please work. Well, I clicked it. It didn't work. Oh, because I was on another tab.
Town Chicago. Here's a little map of it. Get a good look at it. It's quite the unique shape. Almost a figure 8, like Tony Stewart once won. Series is going to race there. The Cup Series is also.
All right, we already talked about it a little bit. SVG.
It's one of the biggest talking points.
Getting his first ever win and his first ever start. Came back for more at Indianapolis, and then after that, he's coming back almost full time. He wants to come over here full time at some point, which is pretty cool. But yeah, good for him. I think if my computer would pause, that'd be nice. Okay, it's paused. Yeah, so SVG, that's a really cool win for him, obviously. Chicago, that was a huge weekend event. There was more positivity coming out of that weekend, than I expected. Jeff Can Fix It says continue, it'll work out. Yeah, I'm hoping the computer works out. But yeah, that was a fun weekend. I know that the Xfinity race witnessed a monsoon and they weren't able to get the full racing, but the Cup Series race was thrilling. I loved it. There was passing. The rain factor made it interesting. The night factor made it interesting, having to cut the race short due to darkness. But everything about that weekend was so fun. From an outsider's perspective, obviously I wasn't there, but just watching everyone in the industry, hearing stories from some locals who were happy. Obviously, there were some locals who were upset that it was shutting down part of downtown Chicago. Vegas is going through some of that right now, or they have been going through some of that, where they're shutting down the Strip and some major roads there. That's just really inconvenient for people. So there's some people mad at that for the F1 race. But from an outsider's perspective, I mean, it was a great weekend. It was one of the most viewed races of the year because it was an inaugural event. A new event for NASCAR, the first ever street race. It was a fun weekend. And, I mean, I remember there was a crash right by the racetrack, like a streetcar crash. Like, I drive a car, some of you drive cars, like to work, to school, whatever. Like, people driving to work got in a fender bender and some NASCAR teams went out there and helped them fix the car. That was a cool story. I mean, I feel bad for the guy who got in a crash. I hope they're okay. I think they were okay. It was just a fender bender. But Imagine getting to call your insurance company and saying, hey, I got in a car crash. By the way, a NASCAR team helped fix my car or helped, get my car to drive away. That's cool to tell. I mean, it sucks you got in a car crash, but kind of a cool story to tell. But that weekend was a really fun weekend to watch. That was a really fun weekend overall. I'm excited that we're going back, and I hope it stays because the track ended up being much more racy than I anticipated in terms of like the amount you were able to race on it. I really did not think passing would be as possible as it looked. It just did not look like a pass-friendly track, but it ended up being a very pass-friendly track, and it was one of the best races of the year, if you ask me. Clicking and moving on.
The safety of the car. Unfortunately, we got to talk about this. But
yeah,
last year,
okay. There were no injuries this year, I think.
These cars.
Wait.
He's back.
Gregson missed the race due to a concussion.
So NASCAR, they made some. Larry McReynolds.
So Gregson missed the race due to a concussion. That was the only injury, I think. Yeah, there were some changes to the cars. Lovely. It's glitching out. Okay. Yes. There were changes to the car. Larry Mack talked about it. Get to the predictions, you bozo. God, who is this guy? He talks a lot. All right.
For our final major topic, I considered putting this in the driver change, but the change hasn't happened yet. It's going to happen, though. Kevin Harvick, 2014 champion, 60-time Cup Series winner, will be...
Let's get back to that Harvick. Kevin Harvick had his final year. Let's talk about this actually during the playoff predictions. I changed my mind. We're going to talk about him during the playoff predictions. Oops. Forgot I have to click.
Kevin Harvick, 2014 champion, sixth, an amazing other way to say it. The impact he is safe to say. There's a read from literally the most shocking and abrupt start to replace Dale Earnhardt. And that's a lot to ask. Incredible that 2014 champion. 500, Brickyard 400s. He is Coca-Cola 600s. He's won it all. What can he do in his final season? Can he get a couple more wins? Can he even win the championship?
Nope.
Can he do what Jeff Gordon did back in 2015 and make it to that Final Four? We will see. Now it's time to talk about the team changes. We've been talking a lot already. 8 minutes recorded according to different teams. Bush, he was the big top.
All right. So now I'm talking about Kyle Busch and him changing, and then there were some other changes. Gregson in the 42. That didn't go too well. What other changes were there? I'm blanking out. Ty Dillon to the 77. That didn't work out well either. Kyle Busch we'll talk about later. I'm forgetting something. I think Kyle Busch was the biggest one.
A lot of talk around this guy. Obviously very successful in the Xfinity Series, but very controversial as well. Got into some incidents, some fights, wrecked his teammate at
Ty Gibbs. He was a rookie this year. That's a big change.
Different opinions
Ty
of
Gibbs.
this driver on Ty Gibbs.
We're going to talk about Ty Gibbs.
We'll see how he does.
Because I did not have Ty Gibbs in my playoffs, I think. Keyword think. And Ty Gibbs missed the playoffs as a rookie, which is no shame. We've seen some big names miss the playoffs in their rookie year. Trying to think back. I'm blanking out, of course, as I say it. I think Kyle Busch missed the playoffs in his rookie year. I think he missed the playoffs in one of his first years at Gibbs, I want to say, maybe. So there's no shame in it. Ty Gibbs is a young guy. He's, 20, 21 years old. And he missed the playoffs. No big deal. He's got a long career ahead of him. And there were struggles at times this year compared to his teammates. But he picked it up in the last 10 races, honestly. The Bristol Night Race, he led a lot of laps in that race. Finished top 5. He had a couple top 5s in the playoffs. So Ty Gibbs massively improved as the season went on. I think, honestly, as of today, I'm going to say he's going to make the playoffs next year. I think he wins a race next year. But for a rookie campaign, he had no competition for Rookie of the Year. Gregson was way behind him in the points, and then obviously Gregson didn't even finish the season, so Ty Gibbs won Rookie of the Year. Do we clap? Do we just, like, what do we do? Reddick to Legacy. Is there some shenanigans going on the internet, or are you just messing with me? So Michael Brown says, Kevin Harvick should be a 4-time champion. 2014, you can argue Gordon, but Harvick was really good and deserving. 15, 18, and 20 was sabotaged by the system. Gordon should have won 14. I'm a Gordon fan, so, there's bias in that answer. But other than that, I'm trying to think here. It's 14 Gordon, but Harvick should have won, I think, if you go back and look at it, should have won 15, 16, 18. No, I think 18 was Busch. It was 2010. Harvick should have won, if you go back to the Winston Cup standings, Harvick should have won 2010, 2015, 2016, and 2020. So Harvick would have been a 4-time champion. Gordon would have been a 7-time champion. He would have been 04, 07, 14, along with his first 4. So those two were the guys who got kind of screwed the most in the playoff system. But Ty Gibbs, good rookie season for him. We got off track there. Reddick to Legacy. Was it Legacy? No. Oh, yeah, Reddick. I know what you're talking about now, Patty. It was Reddick's first year at 23-11. We'll talk about him because I know what I predicted for him.
In 2023 and on to 23-11 racing, he made the shot.
Oh, there you go. There's Reddick to 23-11. Ad. No, I don't want to see your ad. Dior, Charlize Theron. I turned the screen off. Goodness gracious. This is a family-friendly channel, and we got some crazy ads on here. And I can't skip it because my computer is screaming. Terrifying. Okay. We're back to my ugly face. No, not that. Okay.
Is back. I almost put this in the major talking points, but decided to put it into driver and team changes. Him and his new team. He co-owns what used to be GMS, what is now
Jimmy Johnson. His first year at Legacy. They changed the name to Legacy Motor Club. They had a horrific start to the year. They were genuine playoff contenders last year. They should have made the playoffs. They were top 15 points all year, but because there were 16 winners or 15 winners, they missed it. And then they came out the door flat on their face. It was a terrible start to the year, but then around the summertime, they picked it back up. Eric Jones started being more consistent like he was in 2022, getting top 10s, top 5s, even competing for a couple of wins. Like, he had winning speed at Texas, just got involved in a late crash there. And then the 42 car also picked it up late in the year. Obviously, it was a different driver. It was Carson Hocevar who was in that car, and he did pretty solid for those first few races. Top 20s, I think, in 4 of his first 5 starts, I want to say. Maybe 5 of his first 6. So Legacy, as bad as the start was, they finished strong. And, of course, I didn't know this at the time. Legacy jumped ship to go to Toyota. So that was quite the plot twist, I guess you could say. So, yeah, things happen. Free agency, silly season. Car, silly season. Engine, silly season. Driver, silly season. Owner, silly season. We really had it all last year. Kyle Busch going to RCR. Jimmy Johnson becoming a new owner. And then this year we had Legacy going to Toyota. That's a driver silly season, an owner silly season, manufacturer silly season. The only thing we're missing is I don't know what else we'd be missing. We really had it all in the last 365 to 700 days.
Had to change. Ty Dillon, his car.
Yeah, Ty Dillon.
He's the
all right, get to the predictions. We've been going on too long without
the Xfinity
predictions.
Series for Colleague. Could he make in the number 41 car? Custer, Johnston, I think. We already changed. Live fast. Those are the changes. That's right. It's so fun right now when I make predictions.
It's prediction time.
That's right. It's so fun right now when I make these predictions. I guess who's going to win races. I guess who's going to win the championship. But in about, I don't know, let's say 8 months' time, 9 months' time, we're going to come back to this video and we're going to laugh at me. We're going to make...
Guys, it's that time. It's February. Okay, hold on. We got to do some mental math here. February. This is the end of February. Let's go. Let's just start counting from March. March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November. 8 months and like 3 weeks. Here we are. I almost got the timing right, but it's time to laugh at me. We're going to look at my predictions. This is going to be horrific. It's going to be worse than last year. I said last year I got 14 and 15 playoff guys wrong because Kurt Busch I had in, but then he got hurt, and that was kind of unpredictable. So the only one I missed last year, I had Truex in the playoffs. I had Austin Dillon out. Every other one I got right except for whoever was the 16th guy over Kurt Busch. Hello, David. Hope you're doing well. That's a long-time subscriber right there. But all right, I got the pen ready to click and tell me when I'm right or wrong. We're going to do what we always do every year. If you've been a long-time follower of the channel, you get a check for getting something right. You get an X for doing something wrong. Really simple. We add it up at the end, see if I'm in the plus or minus. For playoff drivers, correct. I put 11.5 as the over-under. Actually, 12.5. I'm going to bump it up to 12.5 just because I did really good last year. But I know I got some wrong this year. So 12.5 is going to be the number. Tell me if you think it's going to go over or under 12.5. How many playoff drivers am I going to get correct? And then I think I picked the majors. So the Daytona 500, the Coke 600, the Bristol Night Race, the Brickyard I might have picked just because I think that track's so iconic. I always count it as a major. And then any new races. So Chicago, I'm just going to go ahead and put an X down. Spoiler alert. In February, I did not pick Shane Van Gisbergen to win Chicago. Hate to spoil it for you. Hate if that's shocking to you. But, all right, let's laugh at me.
Make fun of me for all my terrible predictions. Laugh at my absolute stupidity about how many misses I got in the playoffs, how my championship four, all 4 of them missed the championship four. One of them missed the playoffs or something. But it's still fun right now. So we're going to do it.
Oh, my goodness.
Let's talk about the major.
I just realized I said in there, watch all of my championship 4 picks be wrong and watch some of them or all of them miss the playoffs. Did I have Chase Elliott in my championship 4? Oh, no. If I have Chase Elliott in my championship 4, oh, my God, that's going to go poorly. Oh, please don't have Chase Elliott in your championship 4 me from February, please.
Majors. Now, I consider the majors to be the Daytona 500, Coca-Cola 600, Southern 500, and Bristol Night Race. We're going to all agree on those 4, right? But I'm going to throw Indianapolis in there. I know the road course is not a major. I know that. But back when it was the Brickyard 400 on the Oval, that was a major. Iconic venue, iconic track. It's still the same iconic venue. It's a different track. But I still like to pick it because I wish they bring back the Oval. And then we'll pick the Chicago Street Race. The Daytona 500, my winner is... I'll tell you next week in my Daytona 500.
Okay, so I do that every year, and then I forget who I picked for the Daytona 500. I don't think I picked Ricky Stenhouse Jr. I'm trying to think of who I did pick, though. I think I picked Kyle Busch. I thought RCR first year, that'd be a cool story. Got to be honest, though, I'm not 100% sure who I picked. But I know I didn't pick Ricky Stenhouse, so we're going to go ahead and put an X down for that. We got 2 X's so far. Not a great start. Yeah. Well, that's not good. I'm getting a notice. Hold on. I'm getting a notice on my YouTube page. Error. YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. As such, poor stream status. Okay, that's not good. Well, how do I unpour it? Give me a second here. We are having some technical difficulties. Can you hear me? Can you even hear me? Hello? Can you hear me? Something about something bytes per second. Well, I don't know how to change this. Well, yeah, obviously, serious issues that need attention. Well, I don't know how to fix. I don't know how to fix the issues. Oh, it gives me analytics. That's cool. But that's not what we're here about. Well, I don't know what you want me to do, YouTube. Can you guys hear me? Hello? Test, tell me if you can hear me. Like, if you can hear me put together full sentences. Or have I been cutting out this whole time and you haven't heard a word I've said in the last 20 minutes? Hello. Anyone there? If you can hear me, if you've been able to hear me, that would be nice to know. Okay, I got a yeah. Have you been able to hear me throughout the stream? Like when the video is playing, can you hear me talking over me or talking when I pause the video? And just like the picture is bad? If just the picture's bad, that's no problem. Because frankly, it's just my face talking. But if you can hear me fine, that works, I guess. So just let me know if you can hear me fine, or if it's just the video, then I can work around that. But if it's the audio that's having problems, then that's when we're going to have issues. So let me know if it's the audio or if it's the video. Or both. Okay, you can hear me? Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry. The computer's old. So I'm just going to power through. You're going to have to deal with choppy video. I'm sorry, there's literally no fix for this. So we're just going to push through. Sorry for the poor video quality in advance, but audio, as long as that's working, we're good. And click.
Preview, that's always how it works on this channel. If you are new to the channel, you got to wait till next week. I will make my prediction then.
I was wrong.
If you're disappointed, you'll be less disappointed next week unless I pick who you don't want to, which I might. Anyways, the Coke 600, I'm going to go with Chase Elliott. Elliott's gotten
Lord
really close the
Almighty.
last few years. 2020, he led the last portion.
God bless America. Could that have been any more wrong? The Coke 600, look how, okay. So I got two little tiny X's here. Chase Elliott winning the Coke 600 is, that's a big X. That's like the whole page. Oh my gosh. That went horribly wrong. It was a good pick in the preseason. Elliott's been really good at Charlotte. He intentionally wrecked Denny Hamlin, for those who didn't know. Chase Elliott did not win the Coke 600. He didn't even come close. He was running 10th to 14th the entire day. Played the strategy. I remember this. And then Denny Hamlin put him in the wall a little bit, and Elliott decided to pull a Bubba Wallace and intentionally wreck him, right rear him into the fence really hard, and got suspended for it less than halfway into the race. That prediction went horrifically wrong. Ouch. Like the Elliott, I have Elliott in the playoffs, and I couldn't predict that he got hurt. I can't predict that. I'm sorry. I didn't know that was going to happen. Otherwise, I would have rethought the situation. This one though, this hurts a little bit more because oh my God, I was way off. Just the way it went, I picked Elliott to win the 600, and he intentionally wrecks Denny Hamlin. Can we get a rant? Can we get a video on ranting about the playoffs? The system is very flawed and stupid, but the worst thing about it is the one championship race deal. Napa Racing Fan 927, I like you. I really like you. I ranted about it for the Truck Series Championship. If you want to go see a midnight rant, I did a Truck Series Championship review. I ranted for about 15 minutes about the crappy system, the crappy racing that happened. And then I referenced the poor format in the Xfinity and Cup video. But if you want a full-blown, unfiltered rant about the playoff system, yeah, we can write it down in the off-season video ideas. We can write down playoff system rant because I hate this system more than anybody. It makes me so mad that it exists. And every year I have to talk about it. Every year a guy can go win 35 races, but in the 36th race on lap 1, if he has a tire go down because a small piece of debris that no one saw, he can lose a championship, and it makes me so mad. Chase won in my book. Good for you.
In that race before pitting. 2021, he finished runner-up. 2020, he wins the Coke 600. Indianapolis road course, let's go with Larson. He's...
That was wrong. It wasn't as bad as the Elliott pick. So that's just going to get a regular X. Who did win that race? Oh, Michael McDowell won that race. All right. Someone predicted Michael McDowell to win that race in the preseason because Michael McDowell's a really good road racer. I didn't have Michael McDowell winning that race. So right now we have 3 little X's for I did not have SVG winning the Chicago Street Race. I did not have Ricky Stenhouse Jr. winning the Daytona 500. I did not have Kyle Larson winning Indianapolis. Or I did not have Michael McDowell winning Indianapolis. And then, of course, we have the big X because I had Chase Elliott winning the Coke 600. And that went horribly wrong. Moving on.
He's been good at the road courses. He did good there in 2021. Chevrolet really dominates the road courses, it seems like. So, Larson. Bristol Night Race. I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. I think...
Once again, that went wrong, but not terribly wrong. Denny Hamlin won the Bristol Night Race. Yeah.
Kyle Busch, his first trip.
Okay.
It would be a statement win, be something special. Southern 500, I pick Larson every year because he's so good at Darlington, but just can't win. One of these years I'm going to be right. So I'm going to keep picking him until I get it right.
Let's go, baby.
How about that? And then the Chicago Street.
All right, baby. We got our first check of the day. Preseason, I picked Kyle Larson to win the Southern 500. Holy crap. It finally paid off. I picked Larson to win the Southern 500 every year preseason. It finally pays off. Oh my goodness. We have our first check of the day. I'm going to put a little note. Larson Southern 500. He's so good at Darlington. He just can't ever get it done. And he finally got it done this year. Let's go. Hendrick should legitimately have won 3 championships in a row. 21, 22, 23. I would argue. So Elliott, yes, he should have won last year. Byron this year. The only argument I would counteract it with, which I hate this playoff system, so the fact that I'm counter-arguing it, it just makes me more mad. You could argue that 16 didn't belong to Johnson. Elliott didn't deserve 20, so that counteracts those two. But then when you add the fact that Gordon should have won 14, Gordon should have won 07, Gordon should have won 04, that's what really makes me mad and gets my blood boiling or flowing or whatever that saying is. But I picked Larson to win the Southern 500 in February. I may do it every year, but it happened, and I was right. Yeah. Click.
Of course. I really don't know.
Okay.
I'm going to go with a non-Chevy on this. I feel like this one could be unpredictable.
Okay.
Track, the events,
I didn't pick SVG.
Race. Makes sense to me. Team playoff spot.
Who did I pick? actually.
Now for the playoff. Chicago Street Race. Our first ever races at those events. Joey Logano.
Oh, yeah.
Now for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Categories. I have legit contenders, legit threats to make the playoffs.
Okay. So I picked Logano to win the Chicago Street Race because he wins every first event. Bristol Dirt, Gateway, Busch Clash at the Coliseum. He always wins the first ever event at these places. So I figured Logano would do it. I don't think he came close, but I already had the X for it. So we're good. Now we're on to playoff predictions. I set the over-under at 12.5. So do you think I got more than 12.5 or less than 12.5? Playoff drivers, right? I think I'm going to go the under. I know a couple guys off the top of my head I did not have in the playoffs, and I know a couple guys that I had in the playoffs that missed it. But they kind of counteract, so maybe it's just those few. I think I got 12 straight. 12 right, 4 wrong is my guess. I think I got 12 right, 4 wrong. And then my categories, I think I said I had legitimate threats, and then I had kind of bubble drivers. And the bubble driver list, I remember, was like a page long. So this may take a while.
Playoffs, whether that be on points or winning a race. I have long shots, which means basically they're not going to point their way in. They either need a super speedway win or a road course win. And then I got Miracle from God, which is everyone else. But basically, the new system is that there's no points cut. It used to be you had to be the top 30 in points to make the playoffs.
I forgot about that.
Now anyone can make it. Cody Ware could be 35th in points and win the Daytona 500. He's in the playoffs. It doesn't matter. So.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, Cody Ware's in prison now. So that's awkward.
Oh boy. Are you ready to hear how many people I have in the legit threats to make the playoffs?
How many?
27.
27?
I have to narrow 27 guys down to 16, so let's read them off. Kyle Larson, Chase Elliott, William Byron, Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin, Martin Truex Jr., Christopher Bell, Ty Gibbs, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, Joey Logano, Kevin Harvick, Eric Almirola, Chase Briscoe, Ryan Preece, Eric Jones, Noah Gragson. I was a little hesitant on that one. Gragson, he's on the border of long shots and making it. You know, Legacy Motor Club looked really good last year with the 43.
Good point.
The 42 was lacking it a bit, but I think Gregson's a better driver than Dillon, so he has a better shot. So I did put him in there, but he's kind of in that in-between area. Chastain, Suarez, Kyle Busch, Austin Dillon, Tyler Reddick, Bubba Wallace, Chris Buescher, Brad Keselowski, AJ Allmendinger, Justin Haley. I even say Haley and Keselowski are kind of that same middle area after how bad of a year Keselowski had last year. Haley's more on the front end, closer to the legit threats.
So I was really wrong on Brad Keselowski. I had Keselowski on the border of long shot to make the playoffs and like a legit threat. That went terribly wrong. Not only did Keselowski make the playoffs, he didn't even need a win to make the playoffs. He made it by like 150 points. So that was horribly wrong. I'll give myself the X later on. Don't worry when we go through. But, wow. That was terrible. I didn't realize I said that. Sorry for doubting you, Brad.
But I do feel like his best chances are super speedways unless a colleague takes a big step forward. In that case, I would say...
They didn't win a race. It was in the playoffs, though.
Justin Haley's a threat. Then for my long shots, this is a shorter list. McDowell, Stenhouse, Burton, LaJoy, I think those guys could maybe steal a super speedway race, or in McDowell's case, maybe a road course race.
Hey, I did say if McDowell makes the playoffs, it's going to be through a super speedway or a road course race, and I pointed Michael McDowell out for road course. I made sure to specify that. I didn't have him in my playoffs, I don't think. But the fact that I specified that, does that get me a check mark? Or am I being too nice to myself? I don't think that's worthy of a check mark. But if you think it is, let me know, and I will give myself a check mark. I will gladly give myself a check mark for bringing that up. But I did have him as a long shot to make the playoffs too. So he would have almost made it on points. He almost made it on points. But the win got him in anyway, so it didn't matter.
But they're legit threats at super speedways, and they could legit steal one. So saw Corey LaJoie get close last year at Atlanta. We saw McDowell win the Daytona 500 a couple years ago. We've seen Stenhouse's success on super speedways. As for Harrison Burton, he's in a Wood Brothers car that's Penske affiliated. Maybe he could pull something off. I don't know. And then Miracle from God is everyone else. So Rick Ware, Spire, the other Spire car. Anyone else I'm missing? They're all Miracle from God. I would have put Todd Gilliland in that long shots place, but unfortunately, Front Row decided to not make him full-time, so he can't compete for the championship. Boy.
He ended up being able to.
It's time to pick the playoffs. So, I just listed to you 27 guys I thought were legit threats to make the NASCAR Cup Series playoffs. I have narrowed it down to 16. This was the most difficult time I've ever had. I was literally at my desk at midnight last night, triple checking myself, triple questioning myself. I worked on this yesterday afternoon, yesterday evening. I looked at odds. I read different opinions from different journalists. I did everything. And I'm telling you, this is the toughest it's ever been. It's a little bit bold in some areas, yes, but I think we could potentially see some big names miss the playoffs this year, just like...
I was technically right on that. Technically, I was right. I was right for the wrong reasons, but I was right. Some big names would miss the playoffs. I didn't know it was going to be Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman, but I was right, nevertheless. There was a comment that popped up. Brad Keselowski will win at least one race next year. RFK has had winning speed all 2023, and I think that will carry into 2024, and Brad will get one done. Yeah, Buescher won 3 races this year. Prosper, Texas' own, little ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, Brad should win a race next year. He showed speed at short tracks, super speedways, and even intermediates. Like, he was final round of qualifying at a ton of tracks. Legit contender at like Kansas. I mean, for some reason, like they just freaking went off this year compared to what they've normally done. So, huge year for RFK. We'll talk about that in a bit.
Like last year, what we saw with Truex. So let's go through my 16 playoff drivers. And this is in no order. This is in no like, oh, this guy's going to win the regular season. This is just 16 guys that I'm listing. There is no, oh, this is going to be the seeding. This is just 16 guys. Joey Logano, I think the defending Cup Series champion, he makes the playoffs.
Check.
He's only missed it once in his career, or with Penske, he's only missed it once, I think, and that was 2017, and that was a fluke. So Logano makes it.
1 for 1.
No real doubt there. If he does miss, that would be an absolute disaster. And I think you could say next for the next 2 guys, Chase Elliott and Kyle Larson.
Someone go back in time and tell February me that Chase Elliott breaks his leg and then just can't get it back together for the rest of the season. I mean, they got his leg back together, but like he couldn't get his season back together. They only showed winning speed like twice at Kansas and Indianapolis. Other than that, it was a disaster. The injury, the suspension, some badly timed crashes like at Michigan, and they crashed somewhere else. But yeah, they just could not get it together. They could not get a handful of races to go their way until the playoffs started. And of course, at that point, they had missed the drivers' playoffs, made the owner playoffs. So, a disaster of the year for Chase Elliott on and off the track in terms of the broken leg. On track, the intentional wreck with Denny Hamlin. I know he's gone winless before in his Cup Series career, but that was his rookie and sophomore year. You're still learning in the Cup Series. When you're 7 years in, 8 years in, with the Cup Series championship on your resume, if you go winless, that's a terrible year, especially the way it went this year. They're ready to get to 2024. Obviously, the injury thing, it's a freak accident. You never know if it's going to happen. But it was just a really bad year for Elliott. I said Larson was going to make that. I got that right, so I'm 2 for 3 so far.
Elliott's made the last 3 Final Fours. There's no excuse why he shouldn't make the playoffs. And then Larson, yeah, last year was a little bit disappointing, but he still had 3 wins. So no reason he should miss. And for our fourth guy on the playoff list, number 4, he's retiring. I thought it would be appropriate to put him in the 4th position.
Yep. let's talk about him. Kevin Harvick, I did have in my playoffs. He made the playoffs. Unfortunately, was eliminated in the first round. What a career for him. We talked about it Sunday after the Cup Series finale. Everything he's done for NASCAR, 60 career wins, a championship, replacing Dale Earnhardt, which was an incredibly tall task. Obviously, no one will fill the shoes of Dale Earnhardt ever. But the fact of the matter is you're going to put someone in the seats. They changed the number, changed the color of the car. And Kevin Harvick went above and beyond. He won just a few races into his career in Atlanta. And he went on to leave a legacy, as I said, with the numbers. But a great race car driver, a great ambassador for NASCAR, a fan favorite as well. He had his run-ins, but he was still a fan favorite. Always spoke his mind, always was willing to stand up for what was right in terms of whether it was the safety of the car or how someone was driving. Kevin Harvick's a legend. I'm really sad that he didn't get a win in his final year. But the fact of the matter was SHR stunk this year. That's a nice way to put it. Last year he got a couple wins. His last career win was Richmond 2022, but I couldn't have predicted that they would be so bad this year. I knew that they were trending down, but I didn't think it was going to be this bad. So, what a career for Kevin Harvick. He made the playoffs. I had him in the playoffs. Looking at the comments here. One last point on phony playoffs. 3 undeserving full Ford drivers won the championship. Rhodes, Custer, and Blaney earned it under this flawed system, but Heim, Nemechek, and Byron were the best. Yes, that's what the argument would be. William Byron wins championship 2024. The 24 and 2024 would go extremely cool. Brad would have won Richmond if he didn't choke on pit road. I'm trying to remember that Richmond race. I remember Buescher winning it. I remember he was like dominating. He was leading by like 10 seconds, and then a caution came out with like 6 to go, and he had to hold off Denny on the restart. I can't remember what happened to Brad. Keselowski deserves a ton of credit for returning winning performance back to Roush. Yeah, for sure. Roush obviously was kind of in a rut there with Stenhouse, who was in the 6th, Trevor Bayne for a bit there. Like, they were just in a bad spot. And it wasn't necessarily all the drivers' fault. Just from a performance standpoint, they had been struggling. Their last real competitive year was like 2014 when Edwards was winning races still. Biffle was winning races still. Up until that, after that, their only wins came with Ricky Stenhouse at super speedways. So, yeah, Roush was struggling a bit for a while, and then Brad came in, and he's really revolutionized the program. Obviously, as a driver, he's done great, but then bringing Chris Buescher back in, I know that was before Brad was involved, but they're winning races now. They're championship threats, if you ask me, and yeah, it's great to see. Really happy for RFK, everyone over there.
Kevin Harvick. I think Kevin Harvick gets in on wins. I think he wins the Phoenix Spring Race.
I was close. I put the Phoenix Spring Race. I'm going to give myself an X for that because I predicted an exact race. He would have won if it wasn't for a caution with like 6 to go. Unfortunately, that's not how it went. And I was wrong. Oops.
It would be very appropriate for him to win at Phoenix in his last race there. So I think Kevin Harvick makes the playoffs on win or wins. Yeah, I don't really see him missing. Next up, I'm going to go with RCR. I'm going to go with Kyle Busch. I think
Kyle Busch, it was his first year at RCR. I got to see him win once in person at Talladega. What a hot start to the year. Winning at Auto Club the second time, their second race together, and then winning 3 races in the first half of the year. They seemed like the championship favorite after the first half of the season. And then it just went very wrong. They were inconsistent. They had tons of DNFs, practice crashes, qualifying crashes, and they got eliminated in the round of 12. So after June, you would have said Kyle Busch is a championship 4 favorite. He's going to make the championship 4. He might win his 3rd championship. Then it just kind of fell apart. Obviously, they're going to have more opportunities to do this. They're going to have a chance to get better. But with the way that first half of the season was going, it seemed like it was going to be the year of Kyle Busch, and then it ended up not being close. So regardless, though, first year with a team to get 3 wins is a big deal, especially in the next-gen era. They have nothing to hang their head down on. They had a great season.
First season with Richard Childress Racing, he makes the playoffs. we have seen guys, when they make a major switch of teams, hit success in that first year. The refreshment ends up being racing that first year. 6 wins in a championship? A lot of success right off the bat. Kyle Larson, it was a little bit of a different scenario, but in his first year at Hendrick Motorsports, 10 wins in a championship. So I'm not saying that Kyle Busch is going to go out there, light the world on fire, and win 7-8 races in the championship, but it's possible that the refreshment ends up being extremely refreshing. Denny Hamlin, I think he makes it. I think Truex rebounds from last.
Yep. Denny and Truex made it. Denny, no question. Truex, after last year, that was a fluke. Him missing the playoffs was a straight-up fluke. Truex ended up rebounding in a really big way by winning the regular season championship. Obviously, it fell apart in the playoffs, but they missed the playoffs altogether in 2022 because there were 16 winners. And then, they missed it this year. Or they made it this year, and they won the regular season championship, won 3 races. They just had one of the worst regular season championship performances in terms of the playoffs. So they're still disappointed about this year, but they're nowhere as disappointed as they were in 22. Harvick was close to getting multiple wins. Spring Phoenix was leading with a few to go. Late caution comes out. Southern 500. I forgot about that. Yeah, Southern 500. He got really close there. Yeah, because the Reddick trying to pit and wrecked Harvick in the process. I forgot about that. He was close at Spring Martinsville. Yeah, Spring Martinsville SHR was really competitive as a whole. Lost Talladega by inches and got disqualified. Yeah, oof.
Last year, I don't see him missing the playoffs again. He seems refreshed this year. That's like my favorite word now, refreshed. But he seems better this year. He seems like he's motivated. I think he makes it. Christopher Bell, fantastic year last.
Yeah, Christopher Bell made his second straight Final Four. Very successful season for him. 2 wins on the year, so down 1 from his 2022 total. But once again, a great year for him. Unfortunate result in the championship 4, but still nothing to be ashamed of, as I've just said for Truex. And Kyle Busch.
Last year, I don't see any reason why he should miss. I think Ryan Blaney makes it. I think Blaney makes the playoffs. Jeez, I should have been a little bit more confident with that. He went on to win the championship. Ryan Blaney, who I said I think makes the playoffs, he wins the championship. Hey, you from February. Ryan Blaney wins the championship. Don't just think. No, he makes the playoffs. Would you? Goodness. Playoffs, winless last year, barely made it. I think he gets back on the winning side of things this year. He only had 1 win last year, and it was the All-Star race. So a non-points paying race.
Oh. No one wants to see you, Ad. There you go. Now only I have to suffer through it. And it's buffering. Lovely. Oh, let's go. It glitched through it. Oh, no, it didn't. Darn. Sorry for my profane language and saying the word darn. I said it again. Skip.
I think he wins a points race this year. Ross Chastain, I think he makes it back to the NASCAR playoffs. He was one of the biggest stories of the year last year. No wins entering the season and in his career, and ends up finishing second in the points. Remember that iconic wall ride at Martinsville, now banned, so he is the one and only to do it. I think Alex Bowman makes it. He's in a contract year. He's got a new crew chief in Blake Harris.
Pause, would
it's
you?
Contract year. I think he steps it up. I think he wins a couple of races. There's no reason that beautiful Ally 48 this year, that is one of my favorite cars on the grid. There's no reason that car should not win a race.
There's no reason that car should not win a race, really. It was a beautiful paint scheme. It deserved to be in victory lane. But unfortunately, like Chase Elliott, got injured. Bowman was leading the points. Remember, before his injury, Alex Bowman was leading the points. He was having an outstanding year. Top 5s, top 10s. Yeah, he didn't have winning speed yet, but he was consistently in the top 10, even in the top 5. And then he hurts his back in a sprint car accident is out 3 to 4 weeks, and he just never fully came back from it in terms of the performance on track. Denny Hamlin talked about how a back injury when he had his in 2013, it took him a while to get back up to speed on things. And maybe that was the case with Bowman, but yeah, that ended up being a very disappointing from Alex Bowman. But just like Elliott, injury, unpredictable. Who would have thought it? But he ended up getting it. I got that wrong, so now I am 9 of 11 on my playoff picks so far. We got 5 to go.
But Bowman, I think he makes the playoffs. Gonna go with William Byron as well. I'm not gonna lie, I was a little hesitant on this one.
What?
Byron's 2022 was one of the most up and down seasons I could think of. That first quarter of the year, he looked like a championship threat. He led the points. He had the most wins, most laps led. Then from like late April to September, he was awful. Like one top 10 in 20 races, 18 races or something. Maybe not even 10 laps led. I mean, whatever. They had some, I don't know what it was. But then the playoffs hit and they turned it back on randomly. Made it to the round of 8. Looked really good at the beginning of the playoffs. But that inconsistency concerns me a bit. If they do that again and they don't win in that first quarter of the season, they could be in trouble, so they cannot afford to mess around like that again. But I do have them in the playoffs. I think Tyler Reddick in his first year with...
Okay. I can't believe I thought about having William Byron out of the playoffs. Yeah, they had a really bad stretch in 2022 where they went from winning they went from winning Martinsville and Atlanta, and then they won an 18-race stretch with only one top 10. They were not that bad that they should be considered missing the playoffs this year. I'm a moron for saying that. I'm a moron for thinking that. Byron had a breakout year. Byron should have won the championship this year. 6 wins, was top 3 in the points all year long. Most top 5s, most top 10s in the Cup Series. Ends up 3rd in the points because of the system, as we were talking about earlier. But fantastic year. It was his breakout year. And unlike last year, there was no cold streak. There was no long span without a top 10. They were consistent in the spring, the summer, the fall, all throughout the year. Very good season for the 24 team. I know it ended bad in terms of the result, not winning the championship, but they should be looking forward to next year.
23-11. I think he makes the playoffs.
Good pick.
And then I got 2. I think some of you will be shocked by one of these 2, maybe not as shocked by the other. I think A.J. Allmendinger in his first full-time season with Colleague, I think he makes the playoffs. I think he wins at a road course. He's a terrific road course racer. He's going to be racing all of them. He won 2 years ago at a road course, at Indy Road Course. I think Colleague stepped it up in the Cup Series. They've looked good at different tracks at times. I think Allmendinger really could upset the world this year, and he could win a race or 2. I don't know about Championship 4, but maybe if he can get to that round of 12, get to the Roval, maybe win the Roval, then he could be a threat. I don't know, but I think A.J. Allmendinger makes the playoffs. And then this next one, I think...
Yeah, that one wrong. Allmendinger was pretty meh the majority of the year. Yeah, he ended up getting a win at the Roval. Like I said, if he's going to make a deep playoff run, what he's going to have to do. Unfortunately, he didn't do enough in the regular season. So, good job me predicting that he was going to win a road course. Just too little, too late. That was very bad. Truex's season collapse was the worst since Kyle Busch in 08. Busch was phenomenal in the regular season, but sucked throughout the chase. Same scenario for Truex in 23. Yeah, didn't Busch have like 8 wins that year? But, well, we are 11 of 14, 2 to go.
I think will be a little bit more shocking. I think Eric Jones makes the
God,
playoffs.
man. All right, so that's the under. I set the over-under at 12.5 of how many I was going to get right. That is the under. I had Eric Jones because of how good he was in 2022. Such a bad start to the year. The switch to Toyota. Everyone was thrown off. They picked it up later in the year, but just couldn't get a win. I don't want to talk about it.
outstanding year last year, top 15 in the regular season standings. Won at Darlington.
Yeah.
He's a good super speedway racer. He loves Darlington. Now that's 4. You got Darlington, and they had speed at other tracks too. Top 10s at some of the mile and a halves. You never know. I think Eric Jones, he sneaks into the playoffs. So for my final spot, I had this down to 5 or 6 guys, I think. I have little dashes on the names on my previous page. So down to this last spot, the last spot in my playoffs. I'm telling you, this was so stressful. Ty Gibbs, Austin Cindric, Chase Briscoe, Daniel Suarez, Bubba Wallace.
Oh, boy.
That's who I have it down to.
Really
Leaving any of these guys out of the playoffs, in my opinion, is just crazy to me. But the fact of the matter, it's been so competitive that I think it's going to be competitive once again, that I have to leave some of these guys out. Busher could be a long shot, but RFK still, I think, is a step behind. I know they had that Bristol win last year, but I just don't think they make it. If they were to make it, it would be Busher over Keselowski. He'd have to win. Even with Ryan Preece, it's just Stewart-Haas Racing is. And then as for the guys who I just listed, Britt would not have made the playoffs. Well, he probably would not have made the playoffs. And he's good. I can't put him in. You look at Cindric. Cindric had that Daytona 500 win, but outside of that, it was a lot of up and down. Only, 9 or 10 top 10s on the year. He's a really good road course racer. He's a solid super speedway racer. I don't know, though. I don't know. Suarez, Trackhouse, such a good year last year. Suarez looked really fast at times, but, gets caught up in some issues, gets caught up in some crashes. But
get on with it, would you?
I want to put Suarez in, but I don't know, man. Bubba Wallace, 2311s looked really good. They really took a step up last year. And then Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs is literally in a Joe Gibbs racing car. I don't care who's in a Joe Gibbs racing car. It's almost dumb to not put a Joe Gibbs racing car in. I know he's a rookie. I know he's got a lot to learn. I know he struggled in the 45 car last year when he was replacing Kurt Busch. But the fact of the matter is he's still in a Joe Gibbs racing car. It's hard
to
not put a Joe Gibbs racing car in the playoffs. And, it's just really difficult. So, over here on this page, I got it down to 2 guys. I still haven't made my decision. I will show you, right? Well, I got to cover everything else. But there's my 16. I literally have it down on my 16th spot to Bubba and Gibbs. My last spot goes to a Toyota.
Please pick
Bubba Wallace or Ty Gibbs. Ty Gibbs, his rookie season, I always put the rookies in. I put Cindric in the playoffs last year. I put Briscoe in the playoffs the year before. I always pick a rookie to make it if they're in a big organization. I was 1 for 2 because last year Cindric made the playoffs. The year before Briscoe did not. So, oh my gosh, man. I'm going to give it to the experience. I hate to leave a Joe Gibbs racing car out of the playoffs. I'm probably going to get proven wrong. I'm probably going to look really dumb here in a few months when Ty Gibbs goes and wins a race. But I think Bubba Wallace makes the playoffs.
Oh, let's go, baby. Come on. Woo. Oh, my goodness. I really thought that I left. I thought I left Bubba Wallace out of the playoffs, but I didn't. 12 of 16. That's what I predicted before this thing. I thought I got 12 of 16 right. I got 12 of 16 right. The 4 I missed, I had Elliott, Bowman, Jones, and Allmendinger in. They all went horribly wrong for different reasons. And then the 4 who made it instead was McDowell, Stenhouse. Who else? Who else made the playoffs? I'm thinking round by round who was eliminated. Who did I leave out? Who made it? McDowell, Stenhouse. All right, we gotta go to the point standings. Who did I? Oh my goodness. McDowell. Busher and Keselowski. Yeah, I didn't have them in. That ended up going really wrong. Good job, me. I'm stupid. So, yeah, I'm dumb. that went really bad. I'm really glad that we powered through that because I knew last year was really good and I couldn't go back-to-back years of being good. Well, I know I got 12-16 right, which percentage-wise is really good. But when you look at who I had in and what actually happened, that was really bad. Elliott broke his leg and missed 6 races and then got suspended and missed a 7th race, missed the playoffs. Bowman got injured and missed the playoffs. Allmendinger, I said, was going to win a road course. He did, but he waited until the playoffs to do it, so he missed the playoffs. And then Eric Jones, I said, was going to rebound, or not rebound. He was going to continue the hot streak from 2022 into 23. That went horribly wrong. They sucked the first part of the year, and they switched manufacturers, which made Chevy mad at them and kind of like self-imploded them. Not really, but, I'm ranting here. So they all went horribly wrong. All the guys I missed by a mile. Like, usually when I miss it, I'm a little bit closer. These 4 I missed by a full-blown mile. Busher won 3 races in the regular season to make the playoffs. Keselowski made the playoffs by 150 points. McDowell won a race and Stenhouse won a race. Moving on.
Bubba has improved tremendously.
Yeah.
The intermediate.
Bubba did improve tremendously. He had a good year. He was consistent this year. Good job,
So if you're keeping track, my 16 are Logano, Elliott, Larson, Harvick,
Yeah.
Chastain, Alex Bowman, William Byron, Tyler Reddick, AJ Allmendinger. Time to narrow it down to even less people. We went from 27 to 16. Now from 16 to 4. My championship 4. Let's do this. Joey Logano. I think Joey Logano breaks his curse. He only makes it in even numbered years.
All right, championship 4, we're 0 for 1. Logano only makes it even years, and he had a championship hangover. He only had 1 win on the season, and he got eliminated in the round 16. Thankfully, when I did my playoff predictions, I didn't know I was doing it, but I hedged this prediction here, and I had Logano out in the first round of the playoffs, which I got right. Logano had a bad year, straight up a bad year. His teammate won the championship. His teammate had 3 wins. Logano only had 1 win. Was out in the round of 16. It was a bad year for Joey Logano. Logano every year should be winning multiple races and competing for at least championship 4 spot. This year they were nowhere close to that. They only won 1 race and it was a super speedway, Atlanta. And as I said, they were out in the round of 16. Very bad year for Logano. This pick aged very badly.
14, 16, 18, 20, 22. He breaks the curse. Joey Logano makes the championship 4 in 2023. He was really good last year. He was really consistent. Those last 10 races, he really turned it on, was really fast at the right time, and he won the championship. Joey Logano, one of the best drivers in the Cup Series right now. Maybe reaching the peak of his career. Will he win the championship? I think we're going to see a big bounce back year from Martin Truex Jr. Truex missed the playoffs last year.
We're 0 for 2 on championship 4s. This was looking pretty darn good heading into the playoffs. Truex was the regular season champion, had 40-something playoff points, and then they just forgot what they were doing in the playoffs and got eliminated in the round of 8 by a good chunk of points. I don't want to talk about it.
I think he comes back with a little bit of heat, with a little bit of back in 2017.
Nope.
Joey Logano came back and won the championship.
That was a valid point.
Just
it
saying.
was.
Could Truex do the same? But I think it would have been foolish to leave a Gibbs car out of the final 4. I had it down to Bell and Truex.
Oh, you should have went with Bell, you moron.
Hamlin could very well make it, but I just thought Truex, coming off of a disappointing season, might have a fire lit under him to, do even better this year. And then Christopher Bell, he was so good last year. Maybe him. For my other spot, I'm going to put Kyle Larson in there. He missed the Final 4 last year.
I got a Final 4 right. I don't care if it was Kyle Larson. I don't care how much of a favorite he was. I don't care what the odds said. If he was minus 1 million to make the playoff, to make the Final 4, I don't care. I got it right. I got 1 Final 4 right in the preseason. I've picked a champion preseason before. That was a very satisfying moment. But with how bad this has gone today, Kyle Larson saved me in these predictions. I picked him preseason to win the Southern 500. I picked him to make the playoffs. I picked him to make the Final Four. He's got the majority of my check marks. And there's not a lot of them compared to last year. So, oh my goodness.
He didn't even make the round of 8. He made the Owners' Championship Final Four, though. But Kyle Larson, the reason I put him in is that round of 8. If he can get to that round of 8, I think it favors him. Vegas is a good track for him.
He won there.
Homestead is a fantastic track for him. He dominated that race last year. That is his style of racetrack. Run right up against the wall.
Valid point,
Fight for win. I think Larson, Martinsville's a tad bit of a struggle for him. He's improved, but I think Larson makes the Final Four for my final championship 4 spot.
I know who this is.
You're going to be shocked by this one, I think.
Yep. Wrong.
I think that Tyler Reddick in his first year.
Yeah.
Why?
Let's get to the championship.
Can't explain years. Tyler Reddick have had 5
Get to the championship pick.
Tyler, which could
yeah, so that championship 4 went very wrong. Logano, Truex, Larson, Reddick. Larson was the only one who got there, and Larson was meh in the championship race compared to the other championship guys. I'm so ashamed of my preseason predictions. This is the most ashamed I've ever been of my preseason predictions, by the way. Next year, I need you all to remind me of this so that I don't do as bad. It cannot get worse than this. I mean, mathematically it can, but in my head, it can't get worse than this.
2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion. Who am I going to pick? That's a great question. Let's go through the Final Four again. Joey Logano looking for his 3rd NASCAR Cup Series title, looking for his 2nd in a row. He would be the first ever to win back-to-back championships under this format. Can he get it done? He's one of the 2 repeat champions in this format, him and Kyle Busch. Martin Truex Jr. looking to become the 3rd ever driver to become a repeat champion in this format. Won it back in 2017. Can he repeat it? But this time with Joe Gibbs Racing, bouncing back from a terrible, well, not even a terrible, but a disappointing 2022 season where he missed the playoffs. Can Martin Truex Jr. come back just like Joey Logano did from 17 to 18 and win the championship? Next up, Kyle Larson. Kyle Larson, the 2021 champion, and 2022 got eliminated in the round of 12. Can he bounce back, win some races, make it to that round of 8, win at a track like Homestead that he's so good at, and make it to the championship 4 and win again at Phoenix? Or will it be Tyler Reddick, 23XI's first ever championship 4 appearance, shocking the world, making it to the Final Four for 23XI in Toyota? Can he get it done in his first Final Four attempt? I told you guys I'm insane, right? I'm insane. The 2023 NASCAR Cup Series champion will be Tyler Reddick.
All right. Yep. Okay.
Why did I pick Tyler Reddick?
Yeah, be quiet, you. So I put this big red X or this big blue X in the middle of the paper for Chase Elliott winning the Coke 600. All right, here's my Tyler Reddick X for championship pick. It's going to be the whole back cover of this notebook, a giant X, because that was a terrible prediction. I had a gut feeling about Tyler Reddick. There's your big X. That was a very wrong championship pick. I had a gut feeling in the preseason. I can't explain it. I really can't, but it went very wrong. Very, very wrong. And here we are. As I said, let's make fun of me. That's what I said before this live stream. That's what I've been saying all week. I hope you're making fun of me. I've seen a bunch of wrongs in the comments from David here. Thank you, David. 23XI RFK massively performed. Yeah, they did. Logano will be back next year because it's an even number. Good point. I'm going to take notes. I'm going to put that down. But, all right, let's do the tally. Let's add this up. How many X's? We have the one big red X for Reddick. If I can find this sheet again, which this may take a bit. All right, there it is. So, 1X, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 X's. 1 check. I picked Larson to win the Southern 500 preseason.